How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Visit USAA.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.
Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for the stay.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Look at that pose. What are you, the Avengers?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. I don't know what drum was in the back. Maybe I have a floor tom over here. Who knows?
Maybe you do. Maybe. Anyway, welcome to the Saturday brunch edition of No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of the hosts. To my right is a man who saw a comedy legend last night at Albany. That's Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are you doing today?
I did. I'm doing great. I had a great show last night. He was great. Shout out to you, Tom. If you joined me at the Palace, you know what my headline means. But other than that, this is the highlight of my Saturday morning. It is the day before my 70-mile rowing challenge. It will not be pretty, but I'm going to make it. If it takes me 13 hours, I'm going to make it. But this is my highlight, Ryan. I am ready to rock and roll with you and our Saturday guest. How are you this morning, sir?
I'm doing all right. You know, it's a 4-day weekend for me. I had it's great. It's Memorial Day. We honor those who have fallen to fight for our freedoms, and
yes,
it's a great weekend to just relax. Although it's been kind of rainy lately, and I saw a stat. I saw something the other day. I saw a post that said we have that upstate New York, our region, the capital region of New York, we haven't had a precipitation-free weekend since mid-November.
No, this is okay. That makes me feel. Yeah, this makes me feel justified because I'm just like, can it just stop already? And temperatures in the 40s in the last couple of weeks of May. I'm like, what is going on?
Well, if you look out real quietly, you can see the sun, but don't scare it away. Don't scare it away. All right.
I won't. And I should have mowed when you mowed, Ryan. I screwed up.
Darn Dustin. All right. We're gonna bring in our guest in just a moment, our regular Saturday guest in just a moment. He's got a hard out at 11 o'clock Eastern, God's time. But before we get to everything, we'll talk about baseball. We're gonna talk about the upcoming. We're gonna talk about a Madden movie. There's a Madden movie coming out. We're going to talk about Jim Irsay. We're going to talk about hot food takes and our regular favorite athlete to wear the number 37. But before we do all that stuff, we just want to remind you to please follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Just search for No Credentials Required. You can also listen to our many other podcasts and also read our articles at bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, you can subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, and Pandora, also on our YouTube channel. And also, please don't forget to hit that notification bell on YouTube and on Twitter. That way you're notified about live shows. That way you're notified about announcements, memes that I've come up with recently. I came up with a meme yesterday regarding the frauds who are the Carolina Hurricanes, who are slowly but surely, they're getting comparisons to the 2010s San Jose Sharks, who were always the bridesmaid, but never the bride when it came to the conference final.
Yeah, Joe Thornton was on those teams, wasn't he? He was on a lot of those Sharks teams. Yep. I always liked Joe Thornton.
Yep. Joe Thornton, Patrick Marleau, Joe Pavelski, who later
Yes.
became a Dallas
Star.
Star.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a interesting comparison. But yeah, check out the memes, check out the gifs. I've been also been releasing summaries of playoff games in GIF form, reactions to teams, which I'll bring back this afternoon from all the conference finals from last night. But also on the podcast side, rate, review, comment. 5-star rating on podcast side would be helpful. Leave a review where you can. Also, leave a comment on Spotify. And because we're a live show on Tuesdays and Saturdays, we're also on replay on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel a little bit later. You can leave a comment. You can leave a comment in the comments section, or you can leave a live comment if you're watching it live. I know Dustin's been, it's a short week for me, regular week for you, but I know this sound always makes the week go better.
It centers me. And you know what? Looking at my non-existent watch, it's chime time.
Mm-hmm. All right, we are going to bring in our regularly scheduled Saturdays with Kevin segment. He is one of the guys who helps out with the. He's proliferant. I can't find the word.
Oh man,
I can't words today. But we're bringing our regular segment with Belly Up Sports fantasy guy, baseball and football side, but we're bringing him in for baseball primarily for the spring. Kevin Wilson. Kevin, how are we doing this morning?
I'm doing great, Ryan. And unfortunately for me, I don't get a 4-day weekend, and I get a 1-day. Okay. But I spoke to my boss, and so I was able to arrange it so I could be on this fine program before I have to go in. And so, looks like that a person was hired that I'll be training during this next upcoming week. So this will be the last weekend, hopefully, that will be in the poop shoot because I have to work. So I'm very pleased about that. And this is a good way to get off, a Saturday morning. That's probably not the words I'm looking for.
Kicking it off, right?
We're kicking the tires.
To get a Saturday morning off. How about that?
There we go.
I'm very pleased to be here.
Yeah, I might have had to do some creative editing with that, Kevin.
Yes, please do so. Please do that.
We're a family show, Kevin. This is not a Diddy party.
Yeah.
Oh man!
If there are any young ears out there, I apologize for that. Okay.
Well, let's get started. Let's talk about the baseball world this week.
Okay.
What stood out to you? Which player stood out to you? Which pitcher stood out to you? Which team stood out to you this week in the world of baseball? Let's start off with the player. Who's the player that
the player in baseball is in a much better place right now, simply because Ronald Acuna is back. And you talk about a player who announced himself the very first pitch, because he made his debut yesterday, season debut, because he was injured. And first pitch he saw, he hit over a 450-foot home run. I'm back.
Wow.
And then later, he threw out a runner at second base from the right field wall. And so he announces his presence. And baseball is in a much better place when Ronald Acuna is actually on the field. And I'm not a fan of Atlanta, or never have been, but still I'm a fan of baseball. So I'm glad to see him back in the game. So simply because he hit a first pitch home run, he is the player for me this week.
That's a great pick. And I just think that could possibly ignite Atlanta's lineup because they've been struggling a little bit, but putting Acuna back in there, that's a big get for sure.
It is. It's a big boost because this team, we noted that they got off to a very slow start. They started 0-7. They've been kind of scratching and clawing their way back into divisional contention. The one thing that's helped is the Mets have been struggling. They were actually, as of right now, the Philadelphia Phillies are in first place, winners of 8 straight. New York, the Mets are in second. They've been struggling since the Subway Series, and Atlanta is still under 500. They're 2 games under 500. How big is Ronald Acuna's presence going to be on this team moving forward?
Well, it's going to be a huge presence because out of all teams, the Braves leadoff hitters are 28th in OPS. And seeing as how there are only 30 teams in all of Major League Baseball, that is not good.
No.
Yeah.
No, it isn't.
And so that'll give them a boost, of course, and just having him around's got to raise morale and everything else. And so I thought that because Atlanta finally climbed over 500, and I thought, okay, maybe that's will ignite them. But now they're right back below it. So they're going to have to play really, really strong baseball the rest of the way to be able to get back in this race. And so we'll have to see if they can actually do that.
So in regards to pitchers, who's the pitcher that stood out to you this week?
Okay, so that is I usually look for guys that start 2 games, but there was one guy who only started 1 game, but it certainly stood out, and that's Kevin Gausman of the Toronto Blue Jays. And hopefully, if you're playing fantasy baseball, you were not tempted to bench him against the Padres. And so I have him on my team. I did not do that. But he went out 7 innings, no runs, 3 hits, 9 strikeouts, no walks, and 33 fantasy points.
Oh, man.
So, so that would be a rough thing to see if you had that sitting on your bench. So hopefully that did not happen to you. And so there's a lot of pitchers that stood out, but he took the mound and was dominant as anybody else this past week. And his name happens to be Kevin, so he gets extra points for that. And so for the pitching side, Kevin Gausman is my pitcher of the week. And both of these players are different than my fantasy MVP, which I do a series on every week. So on YouTube, you definitely want to check that out. I know that's a shameless plug, but there it is.
That's okay. We do shameless plugs all the time in this program. It's okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I got to apologize to Kevin Gausman because he must have heard me because a few weeks ago I kind of said, you parlayed your time with the Giants into a big contract with Toronto and you haven't really lived up to it. Well, this was a start for Kevin Gausman. It reminds us all that he has the talent. When he has it going, he can look very good. Very good. But
Go ahead.
But Kevin, I wanted to get your thoughts on maybe a series that you're looking forward to.
Well,
for the weekend.
Just so happens that my team, which is the Dodgers, which I get a lot of slings and arrows.
Oh, look at the time! Sorry, Kevin, I gotta play your outro music. But I'm just kidding.
The Dodgers are playing the New York Mets this very weekend. And that's your guys' territory. And Clayton Kershaw pitched yesterday. Well, he kind of pitched. He only pitched 2 innings. And the Dodgers were leading by 3 going into the 9th and then blew it. And so we won't talk too much about that because that relief pitcher happens to be on my fantasy team. And that didn't work out so well.
Oh, man.
But Toscar Hernandez, who is another player on my fantasy team, won it in the 13th inning as the Dodgers won yesterday. And so they're playing on Fox today. So if you're a baseball guy, you don't have to search all over, high and low. Yeah, all over creation to find a baseball game. It's on Fox. And then tomorrow night, it's the Sunday Night Showcase on ESPN. So if you're into baseball, there you go. You got 2 games that you can focus in and clear across, the country rivals. You want to put it like that. And so I'm pretty excited for this weekend. I know the Mets are struggling, like you just said, but they're still a good team. And so this will be an interesting series to watch.
Yeah, they lost 2 of 3 against the Yankees in the Subway Series. They lost 2 of 3 in Boston. And took one. They took one, and they're back at home playing the Dodgers, who are a tough team. And I hear every Mets fan say, "This is our year. This is our year. This is our year." Well, let's wait. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. We're approaching June, and your team was in first place for the majority of the season, but now The Philadelphia Phillies, as I mentioned, they're winners of 8 straight. They're 9-10 and they're 9-1 in their last 10. And they're currently in first place with arguably the best record in Major League Baseball, sitting at 33-18.
And that is why I am not starting Jeffrey Springs against the Phillies today.
That would not be a good option. No, I highly support that maneuver right there.
Fantasy advice from Dustin.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at the standings right now, and the AL East. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. A friend of the show, Eric Arditti. Baltimore is a tire fire. We've had 3 managers lose their jobs in the span of 10 days. Last week, we had the Pittsburgh Pirates manager. He got canned. Bud Black, after that 21 to nothing. Was it 21 to nothing?
That's right.
Yeah.
3 touchdowns to nothing.
and extra points. Yeah, 3 touchdowns, 3 extra points.
Man.
After that humiliation, and here's the thing. Beforehand, the team basically said, and the GM said, yeah, we're behind Bud Black 100%.
If you ever get that announcement by a GM, you know you're in trouble.
Yeah, so they got to go out and get shelled 21-0. They actually won the next game.
Yeah, it always interests me when they fire a manager after a win.
Yeah, and then Brandon Hyde this week gets fired by the Baltimore Orioles. Now, there's a lot of finger pointing. I'm paying attention to Orioles social media, particularly on Twitter. There's a lot of finger pointing at one person and one person alone, and it's not Brandon Hyde. It's their GM, Elias.
Yes. Send all slings and arrows in his direction. And I was on Facebook yesterday, and they were asking, so what's the problem with the Orioles? Well, you boil it all down to it. They replaced Mr. Burns with a guy who's probably 56 years old right now. And they thought that was going to be even Steven thing. They ignored their starting pitching. They're paying a huge price for that. And if you see this, yesterday's game, their starter gave him 5 innings. I think it was 1 run. And somehow Boston wound up with 19.
Oh, wow.
13 runs scored.
13 runs in 1 inning. Man. Okay. So they ignored their pitching, their starters, their bullpen. It's been an absolute abomination going on in Baltimore. And that guy, the GM, needs to be held strictly accountable for that. This is the team that won 100 games just 2 years ago. And so I'm pretty sure that Mr. Hyde did not forget how to manage in the last year and a half. Mm-mm. But if you've got a team and he's got to be real happy this morning when he wakes up and sees that box score. He doesn't have to worry about managing that bullpen or them starters anymore. He just sit back and make money.
And he's a very good manager, and he'll land on his feet somewhere. I'm not sure where, but he'll land somewhere. Hey, could be with the Rockies next year. You don't know.
Oh, no.
And Ryan, I just have to say, we're probably going to get some flack for this, but if Baltimore's a tire fire doesn't go on a bumper sticker, I don't know what we're doing on the show. That was a great one. And then we could just have our 2 faces because we both picked them to be in the World Series. One of us picked them to win it.
I
want to go on record as saying that was not me. Right.
it was both of us. We're sorry. Well, at the same time, I want to say Baltimore's a tire fire. I also want to apologize to the city of Baltimore.
Yes.
Not that our faces watching.
Our faces should feature prominently on said bumper sticker.
Yeah, or T-shirt.
Yeah.
By the way, link in the description for our bonfire store. But looking at this division, the American League East, you get New York Yankees, who somehow lost to the Colorado freaking Rockies last night. But that's all right. We can make it up the next 2 games. Okay.
Well, they have Max Fried going today, so that should give you a pretty.
Max Fried has been outstanding. Yeah. I'll put it this way: not only Max Fried has been outstanding, but also Carlos Rodon. Carlos Rodon has had himself an excellent season.
And he's a guy that I was not sold on coming into the season.
The reason why? You know what the reason why? You know the reason why?
Is that it?
The beard, huh?
The relaxed facial hair policy. Thank you, Hal Steinbrenner, for doing that.
Okay.
Jason Dominguez hit a tank at the ballpark lot on was it Thursday against the Rangers? Hit the game winning at the walk-off home run. He's sporting a beard. You got Cos Rodon having another revelation of a season.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta be the beard.
Yeah, it might be the beard. And just a quick PSA for one Jason Dominguez. Just hit left-handed. You're better that way. Hit left-handed. Stop the switch nonsense. Hit left-handed.
Indeed.
Okay. And most importantly for the Yankees, is that Devin Williams is not the abs. You talk about dumpster fires. He was completely consumed a couple of weeks ago and was absolutely awful, but he has pitched much better now.
Yeah.
And so if you've got him in your bullpen and he's pitching well, that's going to help. It's not gotta help. It's must help, and he will do that.
I'm gonna go at Mets fan again. All right, Mets fan, listen to me. You were all braggadocious about, we got Devin Williams. Pete Alonso owns Devin Williams. Devin Williams struck out the side on Friday night.
He did
in his one inning of appearance. So he's back. I'm hoping, knock on wood. I think he's better in the setup role than the closer role, because Luke Weaver has overtaken that closer role, and he shined.
I liked him coming into the season, even with Williams in the fold. I like Luke and still do. Luke Weaver don't mess with success. Leave him as a closer. 8
appearances, 7 saves. That says it
all.
That says it all. And one earned run. One earned run out of that. But looking at the rest of the division right now, Yankees in first, Boston at 500 in second, Toronto at 500 in third, Tampa 2 games under 500, and then that tire fire in the Baltimore Orioles, 13.5 games back.
Wow.
Can this division get better, or is this just the way it's going to be all year?
It has to get better. I can't be. Everybody was thinking maybe that this division would be the best one in baseball going into the season, and it has not worked out that way. And we're still waiting for Tampa to do something. I was not a big believer in them, so if Boston's got to be the team to me to make some kind of a run. But unfortunately for them, Christian Campbell, their rookie who was playing fantastic, has cooled way off, and Alex Bregman left the game yesterday with an injury. So we'll have to see how that works out. But so the Yankees can pretty much, I think, just kind of backstroke it to the title right now, because there's no other team that's going to challenge them.
So I have a fun fact for you guys. 2 weeks ago today, the Tampa Bay Rays had the first ever rain delay.
I saw that, and they had one the next day as well.
Yep.
So
man,
better get used to that down in Florida, because I've been down there in Florida a couple of times, and it rains every single day right about 4 p.m. every day. So mark that down.
You got to give the retirees their water,
That's for sure. That's also the lightning capital of the world, which is why their hockey team's named that. But so there's going to be, they've never had a rain delay, but they're going to have a rain out this year as well. So,
I don't doubt that. Once hurricane season really starts to ramp up, I don't see them playing a whole lot of games. And
wouldn't that be something if a hurricane went in there and messed up the stadium they're in now? What are you going to do?
They might have to cancel their season or move somewhere else.
Yeah.
Which is why
Disney World, is that what the answer to that is?
Orlando?
Yeah.
Orlando's trying to pitch for no pun intended, pitch for a Major League Baseball team.
No, there doesn't need to be 3 teams
called the Orlando Dreamers. No. Well, either an expansion team or just have the Rays relocate to Orlando.
To Orlando,
just up I-4 to the northwest.
That's right.
Northeast.
They should call it the Orlando Magic 2.
Actually, the name's pretty cool. The Orlando Dreamers.
Yeah, that's not bad. I'll take
name.
that.
I'll take that. Name. Before we continue the baseball discussion, let's take a visit to the comments section. D's Ray Sunshine saying, "Hello, fellas. Hello, D. How D's Ray Sunshine? Appreciate you tuning in." James saying the Orioles won the division in 2014 and have been paying for it ever since. I mean, they had that downward spiral at the later part of the decade, and then they're starting to come back up. But this season has just been an incredible anomaly, and I'm shocked as pretty much the entire baseball world is. Brother Josiah saying, good morning. D saying, Ryan and Dustin, please do not pick the Ravens to win the Super Bowl. Baltimore can only take so much.
Okay.
Oh,
and
man.
James also agrees with me with the beard. Rodon has tapped into that beard magic.
He has
beard magic. And she said, and D says, not as good as Ryan's beard, but it's okay. Then we got folks greeting each other in the comments. Brother Josiah saying National League guy here through and through, and that's okay.
Me too. That's
okay. And James applying that there's no distinction between the leagues now, and D saying it's monsoon season in the South. Yeah, so get ready, Tampa.
That's right.
At least
if it's not monsooning, it's going to be 98 degrees with 93% humidity. And I think the weather in Florida during the summer is the most god-awful thing I've ever experienced in my entire life, and I've been in the Middle East. So,
and that's why I live. That's why I live where the wind hurts my face.
Okay.
Although there are some days during the winter, I'm like, why am I here? Why am I still here?
You really start to question it around maybe like that second week of February. You're just like, why am I doing this?
I would say around Martin Luther King weekend.
Yes, I'd back that up just a little bit. Yeah,
because January is so long and forever.
It is, and as I told you guys, I grew up in Indiana, and so it's been a long time. But there was one winter where I flew up there to O'Hare Airport. It was 68 degrees when I took off, and it was 10 below zero when I landed. And so, you're walking to the airport and the doors go to go out, and the wind comes in. You're like, what the hell am I doing this for? And so I have not been back up there in the winter since. They can have all of that. All.
So we're going to continue with the Major League Baseball standings. And AL Central we talked about the worst division in baseball.
This is it.
Some of the best division in baseball, arguably. The American League Central. Detroit, 33-19. They have the second best record in major leagues. Right behind them is Cleveland, 4 games behind them. And then tied with the Guardians, the Minnesota Twins, who just came off a 13-game heater. Kansas City's in 4th place, not too far behind, only a game back of Minnesota and Cleveland, and then trailing.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that.
We don't need to talk about the tragedy that is the Chicago White Sox. But yeah, let's talk about this Central Division, Kevin. What have you seen amongst the 4 teams that are currently battling it out for either a wild card spot or first place?
Well, first of all, I must apologize to any and all Minnesota Twins and their fans.
Same.
Because I guess it was about 3 weeks ago or so. And I said on the baseball show that Vince and I are on, I'm writing off the Minnesota Twins completely. Mm-hmm. And so in response, and I'll take some credit, they heard that. I know they're a fan of the show. Mm-hmm. And so they heard that and went out and won, as you mentioned, 13 straight. They're only the 3rd team that has won 12 or more games 2 years in a row now. Mm-hmm. And so last year it did not help them because they didn't even make the playoffs. And so we'll see what that means for this year, because they waited way too late for that winning streak last year. Mm-hmm. And we're not into June just yet. So that's a good sign for them. I've been in with the Detroit Tigers ever since last year. I like what they're doing. They're pitching. We talked about Orioles and their awful pitching. They've got pitching, and it's on the young side. So that's going to be around a while. And just out of nowhere, they've got a Javier Baez, who I thought was he was one step out of the grave.
Yeah.
Going
career-wise, yes.
Career-wise, that's what I mean. And so I thought for sure we're going to see. The only reason why he was on the roster because he still has a huge contract. Well, he's hitting the ball. And they're doing everything offensively and defensively, pitching. I think even with all these teams pursuing them, the Detroit Tigers are going to win this division. And I'm still waiting for Cleveland to be what Cleveland has been. And Kansas City, I'm on to them as well. So this is going to be a lot of fun. For those of us who are in the middle of the country, not on the East Coast, not on the West Coast, there's no bias, any of that stuff going on. There's a lot of baseball to watch here, and I'm excited to see it.
I'm looking at the Cleveland Guardians. They obviously need some offense because while they have a 28-22 record, their run differential is a -8. They are the 2023 Minnesota Vikings.
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. I'm so happy. I'm so happy because if you didn't do it, I was. We will continue to smash the 2023 Minnesota Vikings at every opportunity.
Or 2022, excuse me. The 2022 Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
The worst 13-4 team in history. Next to the 2020, right before the 2024 Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, I think they take that title. What do you think?
No, but the 2022 Minnesota Vikings were 13-4, but yet they still had they were still in the red in point differential, I believe.
Yeah,
which was crazy. And that's the crazy thing about this Cleveland Guardians team is that they're 4 games over 500, but they're a -8 in run differential.
Man.
Well, their closer, Mr. Clase, who was the best closer in baseball, struggled himself earlier in the season.
Would you say that's déclassé?
Yeah, I would say that. And he's back.
Thank you.
So the bullpen is shored up, and they still have some offense that they can put together. So, like I said, this is a great division to watch, and I still like the Tigers to win it. But any of those 4 teams are certainly capable of doing that.
All right, let's move over to the AL West. Seattle's in first place currently. I wouldn't say it's no shocker, but I mean it's a little bit of a shock. Followed by Houston, which is starting to gain ground. Followed by the Los Angeles Angels, who Dustin currently they're 25-25. He was their American League. That was his American League pick for the race for the wooden spoon.
Yeah, that one's not paying off so well. But my other pick probably going to get me the bag. Probably going to get me the bag of Invader, which when we have our Invader ad, I have you to thank for what I'm drinking today, Ryan, but we'll get to that.
Hey.
Yeah, you mentioned the Angels. They've won 8 straight.
8 in a row.
7 of them were on the road.
And without Mike Trout.
Yeah. Right. And he might make his comeback by the end of the month.
Oh.
He's not that far away. He just need to run the bases. And baseball is in certainly a lot better place if he's on the field, which we have been severely deprived of over the last, 4 or 5 years now. And so all you can hope for is health for him. And
according to Rhett Bullinger of Major League Baseball MLB.com, says Trout said he had no soreness in his knee after jogging on the field Monday. So he'll, like you said, so it'll be, and yes, you're absolutely right. Baseball is a better game when you have your superstars playing, and Mike Trout certainly is a superstar. You know, it's
he was certainly top 10 over his first 10 years or so.
Top 10, I'd say top 5.
Top 5. I would not argue with that. So, and we've been, like I said, we've been deprived of seeing him, and so I hope he makes it back and can stay on the field this time.
Yeah, absolutely. All the best for Mike Trout. NL East, we kind of touched on with the Phillies, the Mets, and the Braves. Washington had themselves a nice little heater, trying to get back to 500, but unfortunately they lost last night, so they're back to where they are. Miami, don't worry about them.
Yeah.
National League Central, another race to watch out for, especially between two teams in particular, Chicago Cubs and the St. Louis Cardinals. Let's talk about this division, Kevin. What do you see here?
Another apology to the St. Louis Cardinals, because I was ready to write them into, if not for Pittsburgh, they'd be in the last place. And they have done everything, especially a guy named Wilson Contreras, who was putrid to start the year, and he's playing well. And Helsley, the closer, he had some struggles, but he is on my fantasy team now, so I'm glad to say that. And so when you talk about rivalries in baseball, the Cardinals and the Cubs has to rank up there. It's certainly not the most intense rivalry, but it's right up there. And both teams hate each other with a passion. And so if you can have these two teams battling it out for all the summer, then once again in the middle of the country, we have something to look forward to. And I'm just wondering if the Cardinals can maintain this. A couple of years ago, we wouldn't have a problem with this because the Cardinals were always a very quality baseball team, but that was certainly not the case last year. And we'll have to wait and see. Arenado was out of town when the season began, but they didn't make that trade, so that's working out for them. And the Cubs, it looks like the Cubs have just about Tucker has worked. Their pitching staff has worked. Swanson at the shortstop position is playing extremely well.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is going to be a great lot of fun. And Vince is a Milwaukee fan. But they're going to take it's not happening for them this year.
Yeah, ever since that opening weekend in New York, it's just been a struggle for them.
Yeah, and Cincinnati, as soon as you say anything positive about the Reds, then they go right back in ostrich mode. And there's no reason whatever to talk about the Pirates.
Ostrich mode.
Well, and I love that's a great one. We got to put that on a shirt
That's a
too.
T-shirt too.
But I will say too, just a fun fact because I didn't know we were going to get to the Reds on this show. I saw the other day. There's a stat. Ellie De La Cruz, who I love as a player, but he strikes out a lot.
He does.
This weekend, if his current pace continues, he will surpass Tony Gwynn in strikeouts.
I saw that. I saw that too.
That's how good Tony Gwynn is.
That's how little Tony Gwynn struck out.
Yeah.
That's right.
Incredible hitter. Rest in peace, Tony Gwynn. My goodness.
And that's an indictment to me of Major League Baseball in general, because he's a shortstop. Shortstops are not supposed to strike out 220 times in a season.
No.
Nope.
Okay. You may expect that from somebody that's an outfielder, one of those guys that comes up there and he's 6'2" and 258 pounds. And
he's one of the big boppers on the team.
Right.
And the ball out.
You hate to see 200 strikeouts by anybody, but you can understand that. But if you're a shortstop, and there are a lot of great shortstops in Major League Baseball right now, you shouldn't be striking out 200 times, and the hitting instructors just will not modify these guys' swings at all. They go up there and it's 0-2, and they're swinging the same way as if it was 2-0, and that's a problem to me.
Yeah. So I got to ask, because I'm looking at the stats. We touched on this a couple weeks ago in our first installment of Saturdays with Kevin. I'll play. No, I'm gonna play that. I'm gonna play that element again because it's just this element. I love. I'm gonna marvel at my own crapulence for a second. Okay?
I know it's awesome
because that's like totally 80s 90s sitcom end credits, and I'm
fully behind you, Ryan, with that.
That's the vision I had. That's the vision I had when I wanted to create it. Yeah.
1-800 awesome right there. So
thank you. But I looked at the stats. We touched on this a couple weeks ago when we first had you on to talk about baseball. I noted that St. Louis is one of the best teams when it comes to hitting doubles. They're currently tied for third with the aforementioned Chicago Cubs. Okay. But they're tied for the 10th least amount of home runs as a team in all of Major League Baseball. So it's death with 1,000 paper cuts. Do you think if they're still in contention by, say, All-Star break, do they try to make a trade for some power towards the trade deadline to keep in contention for not only possibly a wild card spot, but also possibly a division title?
Well, they could certainly, talk about a trade, but I don't think that power necessarily is, 1,000 cuts is working. And so don't mess with success. And, this is a team that's gone a long way. Goldschmidt is not there, of course, anymore. And Molina's not there. and they can win without the power. And all teams, if you're in contention, need pitching. So I would look that direction a little bit more, unless somebody comes in and just falls down and says, "Hey, take my power hitter." Then, of course, you will do that. But I don't think that's necessarily a move that the Cardinals need to make. I would look at pitching before anything else.
Okay. And our last division we look at, the National League West. The Dodgers are in first place. 2 games behind them are the Giants. 3 games behind them are the Padres. So now you could argue, you could argue with the exception of Colorado. We won't talk about them. Arizona is also in contention. They're 3 games back in the wild card. 1 game over 500. Is this another division that's? I mean, you could, between the AL Central and the NL West, like these two divisions are the best. You could say that they're definitely the best in Major League Baseball.
There's no question about that, because you've got 3 teams that are within 3 games of each other for first, and Arizona has not played their best baseball yet, and they were my sleeper pick if I was to make a bet on the World Series team, to put a bet on. That was my team. And they have not played well at home, and that's really something that makes me shake my head a little bit about. They need to be playing better at home. If they can do that, then you've got a 4-team race for I wouldn't be surprised if 3 teams at least make the playoffs from this division.
Yeah, it's kind of like the NL Central in that way. But yeah, this is a fun discussion as always, Kevin. What's the series to watch this weekend? You kind of touched on it earlier in the segment, but we want to have you say it again. What's the series you're to watch?
The series to watch is
Dodgers Mets, right?
Dodgers Mets. You don't have to search and try and pirate the TV to watch these games, because they're on Fox today and they're on ESPN. Tomorrow night is the showcase game. And baseball can be live on your TV this weekend. So if it's, like you said, it's raining up there, like it does every weekend apparently, you can put some baseball on and enjoy it.
Yeah, that has an old school feel to me, and I'm going to be looking forward to watching, because tomorrow night I'm not going to be able to do much. I'm hoping to finish up the rowing around 6:30, 7 o'clock, and I'll sit down and watch some baseball and order some junk food for sure.
Okay.
I recommend Koi Ramen in Clifton Park. They're awesome.
Oh, man.
Good
Nice.
stuff. All right, Kevin, we're going to let you go. But before we do that, get you out a little early so you can prep for the rest of your day.
Okay.
Before that, let the people know where you're at.
Well, I'm always on the Belly Up website. We have a series going on right now of the top 30 positions in Dynasty and fantasy football. And later today, I will be dropping my quarterback rankings. I already have a wide receiver and a running back rankings that's out there, and tight ends to come at some point next week, and on X, Twitter. I think Ryan likes Twitter, so I'll go with that.
I still call it Twitter. I don't call it X. I'm not going to give Elon the satisfaction.
Okay, no satisfaction here, but on Twitter, Kevin62 WILSEA, and on Facebook, and I'm always open to any questions. And I'm on Reddit a lot, and there's a lot of people on Reddit and I that go back and forth and exchange some opinions, pretty strong ones, and that's fine with me. So I'm out there. Just come on, take a look. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. So there I am. Oh, and also, let me remember, on Sunday nights, Vince and I have our fantasy baseball show. So definitely have to plug that. And we always have some great things to talk about, so you want to check that out.
All right. Kevin, as always, thanks for joining us on Saturdays with Kevin. No credentials required. Saturday brunch production. We appreciate you stopping by and taking your time out of your Saturday. We'll let you go on your way, and enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll be back
right.
here.
So, Dustin, I expect you to carry on the number 37. There it is.
Okay. Oh, I'll be carrying it on.
Okay. And
He
so,
will. Dustin will. I don't know necessarily myself.
well, since I'm bailing out early, Ryan, there's a certain player that's famous from the Dallas area that you could discuss if you don't have anything solid as of yet.
What sport?
That would be football. He's in the College Hall of Fame. He's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. Okay. And I personally know his son. I've dealt with him on many occasions here. And last name of Walker.
Okay. Interesting. All right.
Okay? So he wore number 37 in his career. So there you have it.
Well, I'll have to do the research on that. But in the meantime, Kevin, we're gonna let you go. Thanks for joining us again.
I appreciate you guys, and it's always a pleasure to be here.
All right, we're gonna take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we got some more things to discuss, including I guess you could say remembering an NFL owner who passed away. We'll do hot food takes, our usual Saturday thing, and we'll also do our favorite athletes to wear, reveal our favorite athletes to wear the number 37. So stay tuned, stand by for more No Credentials Required. This episode of No Credentials Required is brought to you by Invader Coffee. For the coffee lover who wants good, quality coffee with no bullshit and no filler, Invader Coffee is an ultra-premium, veteran-owned coffee company proudly delivering only the best coffee your hard-earned money can buy. They aim to only serve the highest quality, organic, air-roasted coffee beans sourced from free trade farms all over the world. They keep things simple. The best coffee at an affordable price in order to provide you with the value you deserve for your morning boost. 100% fair trade, 100% organic coffee beans, 100% air roasted, 100% money back guarantee. Visit invadercoffee.com, enter promo code BELLYUP at checkout, and receive 15% off your order. That's right, Invader Coffee. I got their cold brew.
Nice.
I got the 12-pack of cold brew. I got the 12-pack of cold brew, been putting in my shakes. Put it in with my protein shakes, trying something new, with my breakfast routine. So, but Invader Coffee, great coffee company. They've been one of our longtime affiliate sponsors here at No Credentials Required. As the advertisement says, 100% air roasted, so you don't get any of that acidity. It's veteran owned, so you're supporting a veteran owned business. Look, this weekend's Memorial Day weekend. We honor those who have fallen to protect our freedoms. And that includes it's from whatever battlefield they've been in. And these guys support veteran causes. They support active duty causes. You can buy a pound of coffee, a 12-ounce bag of coffee for somebody who is currently deployed, fighting for our freedoms. So yeah, it's Invader Coffee. It's a great coffee company. Dustin, you said you had kind of I don't want to say a spoiler, but it's a little bit of a you give us an idea what you're drinking this morning with Invader Coffee.
I am drinking the pumpkin pecan blend because yes, I realize it's not fall, but thanks to Ryan and my victory in the Mendoza Backstop Line Challenge, Ryan is a man of his word. He gave me a bag of one of my favorite flavors of Invader Coffee, the pumpkin pecan blend, which I am enjoying right now. But they have plenty of other blends. The winners of our OV Gold Watch 2025, the Mexican chocolate K-Cups are on the way to the winner of that of that particular contest. And guess what? I didn't order them that long ago, but the shipping is always fast. It is out for delivery today. I've been tracking the package. I know it's going to get there. You pay a little bit more for the shipping, but it always gets there fast. And Invaders customer service is next level. Although they have a bunch of great seasonal blends. But some of those, they rotate in and out, but always check back because there is not a blend. And I'm not just saying this. I have tried every blend, and there are some blends that I like better than others, but there is not a blend that I can recall that I have been disappointed with. Now, I haven't graduated to dark roast yet. I'm a light roast / medium roast man. maybe I graduate and I try even more options that Invader has to offer. But you can shop by roast type or blend. And you can also get whole bean or ground. Ryan and I prefer the whole bean because you may have seen me, if you're watching, doing this with my arm. I was pouring.
You were doing that earlier.
Yes, my fresh French pressed whole bean Invader coffee. And again, thank you, Ryan, for being a man of your word. And also, before I was even on the show, thank you for telling me about the greatness of Invader coffee.
Yes, it's a great great brand. We wholeheartedly endorse Invader Coffee because again, you're supporting a veteran-owned business, and you're also helping the show with our affiliate link in the description on the podcast side and on the Facebook and YouTube sides. Order some coffee, order some great coffee. You can get yourself a bag of coffee. You can get yourself some merchandise, whether you get with apparel, mugs, stickers, other gifts, cards. You can get yourself some K-cups. I know, Dustin, you were saying that they're kind of limited with their K-cup selection to get the Mexican chocolate, and that's pretty much it. But still, it's still very handy to have a K-cup in hand for something really quick, really fast. And of course, you can always get yourself some of their cold brew, which I have. You can order individual cans or do what I did and get yourself a case, a 12-pack, which will be at your door quickly. Again, you pay a little more for the shipping, but it comes to your door quick in a matter of days, not a matter of weeks. And you get yourself some excellent coffee. So again, link in the description. Use Belly Up as your promo code. You get 15% off your order. And as usual, Invader Coffee, you get the no credentials required seal of approval.
It's so good to see him.
It is good to see him. All right, we can't escape football. We can't escape the NFL. It's always in the news cycle, regardless of whether it's on season or off season. This off season, we've had plenty of news, but this week we had some very sad news in the Indianapolis Colts owner, Jim Irsay. He passed away, I think, at the age of
65, I think.
Yeah,
65.
Let's do the real-time research, make sure we got it right. But yeah, this was pretty sudden. And I don't know what your thoughts on this are, Dustin. Let's talk about Jim Irsay and his legacy.
Yeah, and I know he was the general manager of the team, if memory serves, before he took ownership over from his father. The Colts have been in the Irsay family for a little while now.
Yes.
But and I'm not going to pretend that I know a ton about Jim Irsay, and I know a lot of people have a lot of feelings about Jim Irsay. But let me just say, hats off to Jim Irsay for three things. Number one, and you might not think that he has been open about some of his struggles with alcohol and possibly other substances in his life. And to me, hats off to him for that, because not enough people talk about that. And to me, it showed a vulnerable side to Jim Irsay. And let me just quickly say, I saw a lot of negative comments on social media deriding Jim Irsay for this. Shame on those people, because there was a lot more to Jim Irsay than that. The thing that I will remember is his love of music and he collected. He had a huge private music collection, but he would allow people to see it, and he would set it up at different venues, and people would get to see these historical. It's not like he collected them and then just hoarded them. He let them. He let people see it, and would often transport his collections to different venues so that people could see some of these amazing historical instruments, such as guitars, and things of that nature. A enormous passion for music. And also, he was very philanthropic, apparently. And there are hospitals in Indiana that have wings because of the Irsay family, and he instilled that value in his children as well. So hats off to you, Jim Irsay. Much too young. 65 is extremely young, and I hope you find some peace Jim Irsay, and hats off to you, because for the philanthropy, especially, that's something to respect. And the Colts are going to feel a little different. I have to wonder. I imagine they'll keep it in the Irsay family, but I don't know. It's going to be a little different. Not hearing Jim come out and make comments or be at the ownership meetings. I think the NFL is going to miss Jim Irsay a little bit.
Yeah, I was reading the read up on on the 4-letter network, ESPN.com. I was just reading about what he didn't come to. He wasn't at the owners meetings in the most recent one. So they noted that he'd been battling some health issues, and I guess the statement said that he was battling a long-term respiratory illness. So which is rough. But reading a little bit farther into the article, and it said, I mean, this month is mental health awareness month, and this week has been mental health awareness week. So I've taken steps to, as I've gotten older, to take care of my own mental health and my own, all 4 cylinders of my life: mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, all 4 cylinders of my life. And I guess Jim Irsay was very, and the family itself were very at the forefront of addressing those challenges, because of Jim's personal struggles with alcoholism and substance abuse. And they've actually given away $31 million in grants to organizations. This is coming from the ESPN article. They've awarded $31 million in grants to organizations in the mental health space and related arenas through an organization called Kicking the Stigma. So it's like you said, he was very, very philanthropic, very generous with his money, especially in this regard. So it's good to see that. It was good to see that before his time in this realm ended, that he was doing a lot of good things in the community. Like you said, with giving hospitals and giving to philanthropic efforts, and allowing people to see his music collection, which, like you said, is very, very broad. A lot of guitars, a lot of different musical instruments to display, because he was a big lover of music. So, but I guess from what I understand in the article, his daughter, his eldest daughter, will be the one most involved in team operations going forward from this point on. So it's going to be, the NFL, at least in the owner's realm, is going to be a lot different now that Jim Irsay has left this realm. So, but our thoughts and prayers go out to the Irsay family during this difficult time. And I guess that the NFL owners are going to be, I wouldn't say I guess from what I understand, he made it a lot, the owners not look, he's the least boring owner.
Yeah.
Amongst the NFL owners, he was the least. I guess he was described as the least boring of them all.
I would say I agree with that, and I also like we've both spoken about, his willingness to share some of his personal struggles made him the most human feeling of the owners.
The most
to me.
Relatable. Yeah. So it's gonna be an interesting time without Jim Irsay around. So again, thoughts and prayers to the Irsay family and to the Indianapolis Colts organization. And I guess Peyton Manning was also mentioning that of his relationship with Jim Irsay, because he's the one he was the owner when he was drafted by the Colts, and he said that he was the biggest impact on his career as a professional. So it's it's going to be an interesting. He's going to be missed. Let's put it that way. He's going to be missed. That's for sure. All right, we're going on to a lighter topic, and that is hot food takes. The burger's back, baby.
The burger returns.
Ugh, pickles.
I love pickles, man. I'll get after them.
Ryan,
I'm going to convert you.
No, it's not going to.
I'm going to convert you. I'll make some homemade pickles. You won't know what hit you. I don't know what accent I just slid into.
I don't know what accent that was either. All right, Dustin came at me yesterday with his hot food takes battle. Initially it was a triple threat match. And Dustin, I'll have you describe the original triple threat match. And I threw in a curveball right before we went on air.
Yeah. No, this is why we work well together, my friend. So I dragged my feet on hot food takes because I was having trouble, and sometimes it's tough to remember what we've already done. Invariably, we will repeat a hot food take. It's going to happen. But I said, and it came to me as I was eating tacos. I said, you know what, Ryan? Fatal three-way or triple threat match. Tacos versus burritos versus fajitas.
Mm-hmm.
And you were down. You were down like James
down.
Brown with this one, but then you threw me a curveball right before the show, which I think just put a little extra topping on it. Let people in to let them know what you changed.
So I threw in this to make it a fatal four-way. Dustin said tacos, burritos, and
Fajitas.
I threw in quesadillas.
That's a great
fatal
pick.
four-way. Actually, before we go to hot food takes, we got some more comments. D saying no, Dustin, no, just no hurricanes.
I think that was in reference to my naming the Orlando potential baseball team the Orlando Magic too.
Yeah, she says, "Ugh, I've already experienced the humidity this year. I'm debating canceling summer."
Can't do that. It's my favorite season. I'm sorry. Ryan and I have been suffering in the rain and the gloom up here. And once I figured out what to do with my Claps picnic table, Ryan and I are going to be smoking meats and smoking cigars. All right? We're going hard on it.
Lee, what's a comment on what Dustin should do with his collapsed picnic table? But let's get to this hot food takes Mexican takeout battle, the fatal four-way between tacos, burritos, fajitas, and quesadillas. So I'm going to have you lead off with your fatal four-way. Who's your champion?
All right. This one's tough. Because either way, a legend is going down because I love all of these things. But at number one, I think strictly because of their versatility, we're going with the burrito. The burrito takes the number one spot for me. They are the champion. You can fill them with so many things. Shout out to the people that fill burritos with French fries. I love it. I love to put a little guac in there. I love, rice in there. No beans for me, but they're so customizable. You can make different kinds of burritos. You can do breakfast burritos. They are my number one. Number two, I debated this one for a long time. Once you added the quesadilla in, it threw me. So I'm going number two. I am going quesadilla. Quesadilla makes number two because I really love quesadillas. You can put pulled pork in them, delicious. You can put steak in them, delicious. You can put chicken in them, delicious. You can also make a breakfast quesadilla. I've done it before. Put a little sausage in there, maybe a little bacon, maybe a little egg. And I'm not going to reveal my secret ingredient that gives the quesadilla a little extra hold.
I know what it is, but I won't reveal it either.
Yes, Ryan knows. Ryan knows that he's had it. He's had it. So they are my number two. Number three for me. Number three is the taco, the old standby. Now, I am a flour tortilla man. I get that they're not as authentic as the corn tortillas, but you can do a lot with tacos as well. You can put shrimp in there. You could put fish in there. You could put steak in there and beef. You could put chicken, pulled pork. Again, tacos, there's a lot you can do with them. Birria tacos have taken off in the last couple of years. I'm down for all of it. The taco is delicious. We've come a long way from the old El Paso taco shells that we all grew up with as kids. Mm-hmm. And that means that this by no means means that I don't love these. The fajita, which I put into this match, it got eclipsed by the quesadilla, though. The fajita comes in at last because I feel like the fajita is dangerously close to a burrito. There gets a line where you're just like, all right, well, I may as well just make this into a burrito. And to me, they're not as versatile. I have tried steak fajitas, but I much prefer chicken fajitas. Chicken is almost, I have a special marinade that I do. I love making chicken fajitas, little peppers, onions. I'm off to the races. My buddy Chris, he loves the fajitas when I make them. But they are in last for me. And so they are the loser of this fatal four-way match, Ryan. And with that, I turn it over to you.
Well, before that, I have some breaking news, Dustin.
Oh man, this keeps happening every Saturday show.
Every Saturday show, this always seems to happen. Let's get some breaking news in here. Where is that bumper? Where is it? There it is. Actually, let me take this banner off real quick, and we'll do some breaking news.
For podcast listeners, that was just Ryan dancing. You not wrong.
Nothing's wrong. It's just me vibing. The United States men's hockey team will play for the gold medal in the IIHF World Championship for the first time since 1933. Tomorrow,
wow.
with a 6-2 drubbing of Sweden in the semifinals. They'll play the winner of Denmark, and I think, who are they playing? Who's Denmark playing? Because Denmark knocked off Canada in the quarterfinal.
That's got to be an upset.
It was a huge upset because this was a team that had Sidney Crosby, Nathan McKinnon, Ryan O'Reilly, Marc-Andre Fleury, Craig Binnington, all those guys who won Stanley Cups. And Denmark beat them with 2 late goals in the quarterfinal.
Wow.
So I got to find out who the United States could play tomorrow afternoon for the gold medal. Because the United States has not won a gold. I can't remember the last time. I don't think the United States has ever won a gold medal at the World Championships. They play the winner of Switzerland, Denmark.
Okay. Wow.
And Switzerland beat the United States in the group stage 3-0 about a week or so ago. So this is huge for USA hockey, I believe. I mean, 4 nations was pretty big.
Yeah.
This is pretty big too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and the fact that Canada got upset, that shocked me. Yeah. That really did shock me. But I have to admit, you would know better than this. You would know more about this than I do. You definitely follow hockey, and you're more educated about hockey than I am. But even I know the significance of this. Anytime, because we are considered one of the great nations at hockey, but there are certainly many that could knock us off at any time. There's talent all over the world when it comes to hockey. I mean, in some of these Scandinavian countries, kids are on skates at 3 years old. So,
yeah. Snowman checking in saying, Caitlin Clark Ball. Yeah, we talked about her on Tuesday, Snowman. Go back in the archives and check it out. And James saying, shout out to Ryan Warsofsky and Will Smith. Sharks may be awful, but they're definitely making an impact elsewhere. I think Ryan Warsofsky is I think he's one of the coaches for the USA team, if I'm not mistaken. They don't list the coaching staff on the IIHF website, but I think he's on the coaching staff, and probably Will Smith too. So, but yeah, congratulations, United States. We're gonna play for gold tomorrow at the men's World Hockey Championship, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, my Mexican takeout battle, my fatal 4-way goes like this, and it'll be in descending. It'll be from 4 to 1.
Okay.
So for me at number 4, I don't want to say this, but I have to say it. Tacos at number 4. I don't know. I could eat my weight in tacos, but like even if I eat my weight in tacos, I'm still not satisfied. I'm not really sure why. But it's all. But you mentioned birria tacos. When I was in Atlanta, I had birria ramen.
Oh, nice. Okay, how was that?
Yeah, a nice little fusion between Japanese and Mexican. It was pretty good. It's pretty good. That consomme broth, man, it don't miss.
Yeah, we got it, Ryan. You and I got to hit up a ramen spot sometime. Seems like we both like it. Let's get after it.
I love ramen, man. It's so good, good. And we have Malta we just opened. They just opened. There's a new pho place in Malta that opened on the last 6 to 9 months or so. So go check that out too.
Nice, yeah.
So tacos at number 4. Number 3, I'll go with quesadilla. Quesadillas have grown on me recently. Whenever I frequent the factory, which is my local watering hole right down the hill from me, sometimes I'll get a quesadilla. So that quesadilla, I asked for it grilled. I always ask for it grilled because grilled quesadillas seem to hit harder, which is nice. So, but nice chicken quesadilla with some nice salsa on the side. It's a close number 3. Number 2, I'm gonna say fajitas.
All right.
Fajitas at number 2. And my love of fajitas began. This is gonna sound really weird. McDonald's used to have fajitas back in the day.
I do not remember that.
Remember that? Yeah.
No, I don't remember that. Wow.
Yeah. McDonald's had fajitas. And it now, again, this is McDonald's we're talking about. So, but it was still pretty good fajitas. Like you get a little get the little, it's like a little snack wrap. It hit the spot. But I also really loved the fajitas at Pizzeria Uno down at Crossgates Mall. I would go to Pizzeria Uno occasionally, and instead of getting a pizza, I get the fajitas, and they come out sizzling on a plate, which is really cool.
Oh man!
But you get all the fixings in, you just eat them right there. But at number 1, and I hate that we had to tie. We both have had this at number 1, but it is what it is. Burrito, the burrito. I mean, the burrito is like you said, it's versatile. It's versatile. You can put many ingredients in it. You can put egg. You can make a breakfast burrito. I mean, burritos you can have at any time during the day.
Yeah.
So that's how versatile a burrito is. And I love myself a nice burrito. I know we have a couple chain restaurants here like Moe's and Chipotle. They have pretty good fajitas, but not great fajitas. Or not burritos, excuse me.
Burritos, yeah.
But have you ever done... Now, I'm gonna cross things up here, Dustin.
Okay.
Have you ever done a fajita quesadilla?
I have not done that. I should
I
give
did that for
shot.
I did that for Cinco de Mayo a couple of years ago, and
Nice.
it was basically what all you do is just get the ingredients of a fajita and make it into a quesadilla.
Yeah, that makes
That's
sense. That's good. That's a good fusion, though.
Oh yeah. Mix it up. You gotta mix it up a little bit. You can't just you just can't stay with the old pedestrian stuff. You gotta mix it up every once in a while. So, all right, that's been this edition of Hot Food Takes. All right, so we're gonna move on to our favorite athletes to wear the number 37. I did the research before Mr. Wilson left. Herschel Walker did not wear number 37.
He was talking, I believe he was talking about Doak Walker, but I don't think Doak Walker, none of us
were born.
Yeah, none of us saw him play. None of us saw him play, which might give you a little glimpse. If Kevin was having trouble picking a 37, it was easy for me, but 37 is not like a well-known number throughout sports. So I feel bad for you, Ryan, because I had an easy one in the pocket for this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is tough. But I believe Kevin might have been talking about Doak Walker, a Texas legend for sure. But he doesn't meet the criteria because it is not possible that any of us saw him play.
No. But go ahead. I'll have you lead off. Go ahead and you go ahead and reveal your favorite number 38 is.
Okay, so my favorite number 37 is none other than a great Seahawks running back, and I'll get into it. Shaun Alexander. I know the end wasn't pretty, and we forget about his Washington years because the decline was swift when it happened to Shaun Alexander. But before that, I think a lot of Seahawks fans should be called out because he's not often mentioned, but he was a reason for that Mike Holmgren era success. I will never forget. There was a kid in high school that knew a lot more about college football than me, and I was a huge Ricky Watters fan during his time in Seattle. I loved Ricky Watters. I loved watching him run, but there was a Thursday night football game on ESPN. That's right. There was, back in the day, there was a Thursday night football every once in a while. I think Paul McGuire was the announcer for those games on ESPN, and Ricky Watters got injured. The game was in 2001. It was in the rain against the Oakland Raiders. And a shout out to Devish if you're listening. Devish was telling me, he goes, Shaun Alexander, you drafted Shaun Alexander out of Alabama. He said, I'm telling you, he's going to be nice. He's going to be good. Shaun Alexander is good. Ricky Waters goes down in that game, and Shaun Alexander ran all over the Raiders in the rain, and that started my really love of Shaun Alexander. Yes, people could argue it was the offensive line. It was Walter Jones, Steve Hutchinson. The offensive line in that era for the Seahawks was great. But also, I think Shaun and Max Strong running in front of Shaun Alexander as the fullback. But Shaun Alexander was a great running back. He was also the model of health for many, many seasons. He did not get injured, and then he started to get injured, and that, I think, contributed to his decline along with his age. But Shaun Alexander, he would do this little move behind the line. People derided him for not being a physical running back, but he could be physical when he had to be, but he was also smart. People derided him for running out of bounds and not taking hits, but I think that helped prolong his career and helped keep his health up, because Shaun Alexander, he was a fantasy football stalwart also. He had the single season touchdown record for a while there. He was an amazing running back. People discredit it. Go back and watch the highlights. Shaun Alexander used to do a little hesitation move behind the line. He'd kind of see where the gap was, and he could take off right through it. And he was a sideline runner. Less of a north-south runner, but he could get the job done when he had to. Big shout out to Shaun Alexander. I also like the way he carried himself off the field for the most part. He was a huge reason for that Super Bowl run in Seattle in 2006, in 2005 and 6. It didn't go the way we wanted. Everybody knows that. Everybody in Seattle remembers that. And I think Shaun Alexander gets discounted and dinged because he was a part of that. And once he got injured, things kind of fell off a little bit. But Shaun Alexander, a model of consistency in Seattle, and racked up a lot of yards, a lot of years. And I just have a lot of great memories about watching Shaun Alexander run. He is my pick for number 37. This one was obvious. Everyone could see it coming.
Yeah, that's for sure. I should have played this before you revealed your pick.
Yeah. Yeah. You might just have to get the Homer alert out over the next few episodes. There could be a lot of Homer alerts coming up. So,
well, I struggled with. I'll be honest. I struggled with this one, and I had to really hunker down, especially before this show, in regards to who to pick for number 37, because I couldn't think of anyone from one of my favorite teams. To wear number 37. I know Quantis Stiggers from the New York Jets. He currently wears number 37. If you haven't seen his story before he got drafted, great story. Didn't play football in college. Went to fan-controlled football. Went to the Toronto Argonauts. Led the league in interceptions. Decided to go to the draft, and the New York Jets selected him in I think the 5th round of last year's draft, if I'm not mistaken. But thinking of all-time players, back in the recesses of my memories, I'm trying to think of number 37s, and I had to do the research.
Yeah.
Real-time research, and I finally figured it out.
Oh, here we go.
Olaf Kolzig, long-time Washington Capitals goaltender. Older the goalie, a.k.a. Zilla. You saw the Godzilla on his helmet, on his goal helmet. And goaltender is the position that I really fell in love with when I started watching hockey.
Yeah,
because of the gear they had, because it was the only. Goaltender is the only position in sports where you can. Outside of baseball, you could argue with the catcher's masks evolving, but hockey, like, you can be really creative with, as you're a goaltender, you can be really creative with the mask. And one of the guys who was the first to be really creative with his mask was Olaf Kolzig. Initially, did not start wearing number 37 until he was the full-time goaltender for the Washington Capitals. So he originally wore number 35, then he wore number 31, then he wore number 37 when he became full-time, when he was basically the full-time first goalie for the Washington Capitals in 1993. Wore it all through his career, finished his career in 2009 with the Tampa Bay Lightning. So, but yeah, it's not so much his play in net, although he did have a great run in 1998 with the Capitals. They went to their first Stanley Cup final, got swept by the Detroit Red Wings, who are an absolute monster of a dynasty then. with those teams, with the Russian Five and all those guys playing so well under Scotty Bowman. But like in terms of creativity with his mask, Olaf Kolzig was the guy who was probably of that era was the most creative with his mask, with the using Godzilla as his muse for his goalie helmet, which is really cool. But no, I mean he would take over games. He would stump stump his opponents. Won 303 games. Was the 2000 Vezina winner. One-time All-Star. Won the Clancy Memorial Trophy Award in 2006. And here's a cool fact about Olaf Kolzig. He was born in South Africa, but represented Germany in the Olympics. So, or in an international competition. So that's a cool stat. I think probably the only NHL player to ever be born in South Africa. Because Owen Nolan, who played in the NHL for many years, was born in Northern Ireland.
Oh, okay.
Played his hockey in Canada. So, but yeah, Olaf. This was kind of a last minute call, but Olaf Kolzig, he's my number 37. Although I forgot Connor Hellebuck for the Winnipeg Jets and for the United States in the Four Nations competition. He wears number 37, which James in the comments section saying Connor Hellebuck and Olaf Kolzig. Special shout out to former Eagle Shaun Constantine, Philadelphia Eagle, I suspect. So that's number 37 for us, and number 38 is going to be a chore for me too, and probably, but not number 39. Number 39 I've got locked in already.
39 might be trouble for me. 39 and 40 might be trouble.
39 and 40 I've already got locked down, but 38 I might have to do the research for. So
41's going to be fish in a bucket for me. I mean, come on.
All right, we're going to get out of here and enjoy our respective Saturdays. But before we do that, just want to remind you. Programming note: we'll be back on Tuesday. The first episode of No Ticket Required. We're going to talk about Draft Day. Go ahead and watch that movie over the weekend. Oh, and he says, don't forget about Patrice Bergeron. No, I can't forget about him. Who are number 37 for the Boston Bruins. So, programming note: Tuesday we start No Ticket Required. We're going to watch Draft Day over the weekend. Critique that movie. We're going to talk about the new Madden movie that's going to come out. It's in production currently, but we're going to save that till Tuesday as well. And we'll try to also fit in new Untold Brett Favre. That's also on Netflix right now. But so Tuesday, No Ticket Required begins. Lots of movie and documentary talk there. Yeah. And Friday we're gonna have another special happy hour because I got a thing on Saturday morning I got to attend to for family. So it's more important. So we're gonna do a Friday happy hour 8:00 next Friday, which is the 30th.
30th, yeah, the end of the month.
Yep. So that'll be episodes 38 and 39 of 2025, and then June starts the following Tuesday. So No Ticket Required Tuesday, then a Friday happy hour Friday at 8 p.m. But in the meantime, we just want to remind you to please follow us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Just search for No Credentials Required. Give us a follow on there. Also, you can find other podcasts and written articles on bellyupsports.com. And on the podcast side, you can subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, and also our YouTube page after the show. And then also you can also get notified on Twitter, get notified on Facebook or YouTube, show announcements, live show, when the live show is up, live announcements, video clips. I'm starting to splice out our segments and put them up on our YouTube page, because this show will be on the Belly Up Sports YouTube page. The full show will be on the Belly Up Sports YouTube page later this afternoon. But I'm starting to put together segments to post on our regular YouTube page, so you can get the notification there. Also, a special shout out to our listeners, because this past week, we hit 3,000 for the year.
Yes.
It doesn't sound like much, but to us it's huge, because this podcast has existed for 5 years. And initially, I still remember the days when this podcast was probably getting like 20 hits a month. and now we're at 3,000 for the calendar year so far. And I made a goal this year to have 3,000 by the end of this year, and we've already surpassed that. So thank you to every audio subscriber out there for listening to us, to our banter every week or every couple days, twice a week, 2 days a week. We record and we publish, and the hard work's paying off. So we want to thank you and give a shout out to all our podcast listeners out there.
Yeah, special shout out to the podcast listeners, and shout out to everyone that watches live as well. Your comments help drive the show.
Yep.
And go check out, there's lots of other podcasts and streams on Belly Up. Go check out, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Shout out to the Belly Up Network for their support. And most importantly, Ryan, shout out to you, because you're the reason. I told you via text, but I'm going to air it out now. You're the reason this show goes. I bring something to the show, whether you love it or hate it. That's up to be for debate. But Ryan is the reason the show goes. I help come up with segments, but that's pretty much where my contribution to the show stops. Ryan edits the show each week. He cuts the clips. He does the ad reads. He does a lot of things. And so if you love the show, give Ryan some love on Twitter, who is Ryan MC. Check him out. He's a good follow as well, but make sure you give him a special shout out and thank him like I have done here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So yeah, we're going to get out of here. Thanks for everyone who commented in the comment section. Again, comments below leave them below in the comment section on the Belly Up YouTube page. But we're going to get out of here. Enjoy our weekend. Thanks for tuning in to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. For Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll be back here on Tuesday night with No Ticket Required, the first installment for 2025, and we're looking forward to it. And we're looking forward to it, and we hope that you're looking forward to it too. So have a great weekend. Be safe, and we'll see you here on Tuesday.
Join us Tuesday for a very movie-heavy episode. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.